Hello everybody and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out The Bound of Time. It is a game developed for the lowrezjam 2014. It's kind of a little claustrophobic micro-platformer. We're going to have a very close-up view of a couple of characters who are going to be doing their best to traverse a landscape by manipulating certain elements. One is a knight, one is a seed, and they actually surprisingly work together pretty well, although you probably wouldn't expect a seed to have a whole lot to say about the situation. But anyway, let's give it a look, and I think you might be pleasantly surprised despite the rather strange premise. So first thing I notice, really good design in general, and I know that there's not a lot to see in this, and like I said, it's a little bit of a claustrophobic viewpoint. Our knight is going to be taking up the majority of the screen, and there's not a lot beyond him to see. But there is a lot of nice detail going on. For example, things like the shading in the background, the fact that they even bothered to include something that happens if you go left. In this case, there's like a poison mist cloud, and there's all those little grass textures and things kind of flowing down into the rocks, and mist in the background, trees of various lengths. All of these things, they look nice, and I just want to say that's a nice detail that they've added. So spacebar to break pots and hit things, and then we've got our arrow keys, and up is jump, so pretty standard platformer controls. Got some slimes to squash on the way over. I like that little 1 pixel of shading detail as well. It's surprising how much that, well, it's actually not just 1 pixel, there's a couple of them there, but it's nice to see that even when the resolution is this low, you can still find some points to make things look a little bit shiny. And if you kind of blur your eyes, the game actually looks quite fancy, which is kind of the or a mark anyway of good pixel design, I would say, or sprite art. Alright, so we found our way down into a bit of a hole here, and the knight finds him or herself perplexed because there doesn't seem to be a whole lot else to do. So now you can press S to shift, and what this actually does is it shifts us back in time. Now, when I first tried this out to sort of do a little quick test of how this was going to go, I didn't actually quite get that for whatever reason, and now that I read it in the README, it seems rather obvious that basically the plant is going to be doing things in the past, setting them up for our knight, and then the knight is going to be able to capitalize on whatever these changes were. So our knight is shifted into the future and is, as such, apparently a stone or something like that for the moment. You're not interactable anyway, so that doesn't really matter. So if you stand in the right spots and you plant yourself, there's actually like some glow spores, I guess, and the plant turns into a glow plant, and that's very helpful because in this case, we've got a rather dark and deep and foreboding cavern to explore. So we're going to actually walk hand in hand through this moment because the seed can actually see just fine. So there is an exclamation point that tells me plant myself there, and I can see, and there's actually pretty good subtle lighting effects going on here. We've actually got a little bit of like a stippling design as we reach the borders of the outer lying light range, and then we've got some stuff happening completely in the dark there, but I'm going to switch back over to the seed again and see if maybe we can go past. Oh, we've got a waterfall with some nice waterfall ambient sounds going on too. And lighting up this space, we can actually see exactly where that gap is, and as you've probably just noticed, there's no penalty on death in this particular game, which I think is probably the right way to go about it. Otherwise it could end up being slightly frustrating if we had to replay large portions of it based on just like a simple control issue or something like that. You know, our character has a very short jumping distance, which is actually used for good reasons in the puzzle gameplay, but in general, like, that could be kind of frustrating if you had to keep playing it over and over again because you just didn't get the jumping radius properly. So in this case, and I know this a little bit from having done a little bit of gameplay ahead of time here, but we have whatever this is over here, and I can't quite tell. I don't know, it seemed like a bit of snow on top of some sort of clay pots. Maybe those are just pots, actually. They're just sort of broken open or something, or smashed. But yeah, we can't seem to go in that direction. But what we can do is, well, we could bring our knight over here until we realize the knight can't jump up this ledge. So we would need something to do about that situation, and the only thing to do is jump up the knight's head, which I think kind of breaks the continuity, because if the knight's in the future, like, well, I guess we're just saying that they both sort of operate in this weird time paradox or something. But in general, I would think you wouldn't be able to interact with a thing in the future, but, you know, that's okay. Whatever, it's for the sake of gameplay, it works just fine. So our seedling has found its way up this jungly vine that seems to be going up into wherever these waterfalls are going from. And, oh, what's this? We found what appears to be a keyhole, but I don't have a key to operate such a mechanism, so I guess we can't go this way. Could there be another direction, though, for me to go in? I wonder. There seems to be other plants over here. Oh, I can jump up on this ledge and continue my way up. And what's this? This is another cliff face. Ah, there we are. That's what I was looking for. So all of a sudden, our seed seems to have gained a new power. So if we combine our seedling with those little sprouts, what we'll end up with is actually something a little bit better. Oh, I guess we can't fall down through that to get to the cave below, huh? Okay, that's fine. We'll go down the long way. Should mention also, if you haven't already taken notice, the music in this is quite well done. It's got a track for both the actual, you know, the Knight character, and then another track for the Seed character, and I think that they both complement each other quite well. And we're just going to plant ourselves there, and we can actually turn into a boingy plant, which allows us to bounce up the ledges, which is perfect. Okay, so I guess these are pots. That's fine. Alright, so there we go. Problem solved. We found our way through to a new land on the other side of this cliff face, and it looks like we're going to be continuing on in the trend of using the seedling to create bouncy plants. And it's a funny combination, because honestly you would think knights would not be doing a lot of bouncing in their day, but you know, this particular knight doesn't seem to mind, so I think we might as well embrace it. And ooh, what is this pretty red up here? This orangish, pinkish red, whatever that is. Okay, we found our way up on top of this cliff, and oh, we found the key. And I'm pretty sure that's what we wanted to do anyway, and oh, I can't actually go back this way, so I guess we need the knight to come and break that pot. And now we've got to figure out exactly the right spot to stand, because you can't actually switch time when you're in the wrong spot. Like, if the knight is too close, you won't be able to mess around with that. So this is one spot where it's kind of a little bit of a predicament, because, well, you've got a sprout on one side, and a cliff you need to jump up on the other, and the knight can't make it up that other ledge, so you know, you gotta do what you can here to make it through. And I think what we need to do now is go back into the direction we just came from. Look at the detail, by the way, in this background of this forest. It's really nice. You know, it's minimalistic. There's not, like, overly gargantuan, huge amounts of detail, but the amounts that are there are precise and to the point, and they definitely give you a good feeling of ambience. And the background looks like it's rather expansive. There actually could be a lot of game world there. And I really appreciate all the details on this tree as well, and they actually look quite good. So, you know, top-notch sprite work. I definitely appreciate it. Oh man, everything looks so dead and sad when we're in Nightland. That's sad. Alright, so let's jump back up. We can see if we can hang up here. Wait a minute. I just realized something. Are we going to be able to go back in the other direction? Oh, okay, yeah we are, because the knight broke the pot, so that makes sense. Okay, so let's do one of those. Just occurred to me, I wonder if maybe I had it backwards. Could it be that the time is actually reversed the way I thought it was? I guess it's possible, right? I don't want to get too much into time paradoxes, but yeah, I guess it could be that the, what is it, the plant is, whichever thing I said before, that it's opposite that the plant is in the future, I guess. And the knight is in the past. I guess that would make more sense with the stone idea. I don't know, let me know what you think about that if you want to chime in the comments, because I'm kind of curious. But again, probably doesn't seem to be too important to think about. What on earth is that? I used the key, and I'm not exactly sure what I've found. Key has been placed. Okay. I'm not actually sure what to do at this point. This is all new ground for me. Is there a way for me to boing the knight up to here? I'm wondering if there's maybe a sprout now. Kind of betting probably not. Maybe, oh, maybe the key was to that gate that was off in the other direction. I think I get what we're going now, or where we're going. Alright, so let's jump back through the cave again. This is reminding me a little bit in a very, like, superficial way of something like Trine, where you have to, you know, use the skills and powers of multiple characters for the betterment of the situation, or the cave, actually, as well. And by the way, you can jump through this stuff in the dark. It's just, like, kind of a pain in the butt if you're not good at it. Alright, so let's just wander all the way out of the cave now. Now that I think all the impediments are behind us. Oh, we do have slimes, though, so let's rid the world of those, of course. Excuse me, slimes. And, of course, you could also make sort of a veiled, like, arbitrary sort of alignment with the idea of maybe, like, 10 million for the sprite art, and also the knight stuff and smashing stuff with your sword. And I'm thought there was even another one beyond that, but looks like we found the light. The end? I'm not sure. Is that the end? Thank you for playing. You're very welcome. The Bound of Time. That was a lot of fun, actually. I wish this game was longer, but I think for the scope of what it tried to accomplish, it was very well realized. All the parts that were there made sense and were generally quite polished, and I would love to see more from this or these developers in the future, because this is definitely a good premise. Although, you know, as much as it pains me to say, and I appreciate the idea behind the low-res jam, I really like the art, and I wish that I could just see more of it on the screen at the same time. And, you know, not that I have a problem with the camera being as close up as it was, because there's a very good reason for it, since it's part of the constraints of this particular game jam, you know, that the resolution is the one that it is. I just would love to see more of this art being expansive and at a high resolution option as well. I mean, that's just my own personal preference, and I would definitely still play something even if it looked exactly like this, but I just think that there's a lot of potential for great art here. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. The Bound of Time gets 2 thumbs up. If you want to go try it, there's going to be a link in the description, as well as my other social media links. If you want to find more about me or the series, you can feel free to click around and find plenty more to see and do. Of course, you could also visit indie-impressions.com for very nearly, I think we're like around 5 or 6 away from the 800 mark now in the series. So if you want to go find tons of other indie games, many of which are nowhere else on YouTube or the internet in general, as far as, you know, videos or critiques of them, you'll find plenty. So go have a look. They're all sorted and categorized for you, and hopefully you'll come back again tomorrow. This is a new episode of Indie Impressions that goes up every single day, so I look forward to talking to you again then. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, consider leaving a like on it, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Later, everybody.